Today we're going to learn about elimination using multiplication. Multiply one equation by a constant to get two equations with opposite terms, add the equations, substitute, and solve. So what do you do in elimination if there's no terms that are of a similar value? So in this first equation, the x's and the y's are lined up. However, we can't add or subtract the equations and eliminate a variable because they don't have the same coefficients. So what we can do is we can multiply one of the equations by a certain constant, and then we can add and subtract it to eliminate the variable. I'll show you what this means. So in this first equation, we have 3x plus 2y equals 8. The second one, we have x minus y is equal to 1. So what type of variable would we need in the second equation to make it so that we can use elimination in the first? So if we multiply this equation by 2 across the board, it's going to become 2x minus 2y is equal to 2. Now notice that this equation is the same as this equation. We just multiplied everything by 2, which is valid. You're allowed to do that. So now we can take the first equation and we can just add the two together. And you'll see that the 2y minus 2y cancels out. So we're going to get 5x is equal to 10. So dividing both sides by 5, we get x is equal to 2. Now again, plug in x back into the equation to solve for y. This equation looks easier to solve for y, so we're going to plug in this one. So it's going to be 2 minus y is equal to 1. If we subtract 2 from both sides, negative y is equal to negative 1. So that means that y is equal to 1. So let's write it as an ordered pair, 2, 1. For the second one here, which equation are we going to multiply by? The first equation, all of the coefficients are larger than the second one. For instance, 4x is larger than x and 8y is larger than 4y. So that means we want to multiply the second equation by a constant in order to reach the value of the first equation. Now, what number is this going to be? Well, we see 4 is a factor of 8. We have to multiply by 2 in order to get to 8. And that seems like the easiest step here. We could multiply x by 4 to get 4x, but that's a larger number, and we're going to deal with smaller numbers for now. Now, if you notice, multiplying the second equation by negative 2 makes it so that this 4y is going to become negative 8y, and then we can add the equations together. So let's do that. So negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and then negative 8y and 12. So we're going to take the first equation and put it on top. And if we add them together, we're going to get 2x, 8y's cancel out, perfect, is equal to 2. X is going to equal to 1. Let's plug x back into the first equation, and we're going to get 1 plus 4y is equal to negative 6. Subtract 1 from both sides, get 4y is equal to negative 7. So y is going to be equal to negative 7 over 4. So our point is going to be 1 and negative 7 over 4. Now for this final problem, if we look at both equations, it doesn't seem like there's any constant that we can multiply one of the equations to get a similar coefficient in both of them. So what we're going to have to do here is multiply both equations by some coefficient. So we could either eliminate x or y first. The value of x's seem to be larger than the values of y. So let's try to eliminate the y first. Now what you can do is the greatest common factor of 2 and 3 for 2y and 3y is 6. If you multiply 2 times 3, you get 6. Can we make both equations so that they both have 6y in them? And we can. The first equation, we're going to multiply by 3. Everything by 3. The second equation, we can get 6y by multiplying everything by 2. Now, we can do one of two things here. We can multiply the second equation by negative 1 so that we can just add them together. Or we could just subtract both of the equations. So let's do that. So we're going to get 6x. The 6y's are going to cancel out, and we're going to get 24 minus 18, which is 6. So x is equal to 1 again. Let's plug x back in the equation. We're going to get 3 times 1 plus 3y is equal to 9. So we're going to get 3 plus 3y is equal to 9. Subtract 3 from both sides. We're going to get 3y is equal to 6. So that means y is equal to 2. Our point is going to be 1, 2. So that's our final answer.